Today I want to share a practice with you that I've been working on and actually loving more and more. If you know me and my work, you know that I love bright colors, colorful, saturated paintings. I mean, you can just look around at my recent work and, it's not just the bright colors, it's summer, it's connecting to the light and letting the light guide your work. I am all about that. But today I want to share a different practice that is more about embracing the unknown of our subconscious, the mystery, and even the things that are less comfortable. I've noticed in my own healing process, it is uncomfortable to look at, any health issues coming up or some of the things going on in the world, even our own shadows and things, difficult parts of our own relationships. And I recently had a conversation with this functional medicine woman who has been supporting me, and she challenged me to paint an ugly painting. And not only an ugly painting, but just painting this misalignment within my energetic system, just really letting it land on the page and don't try and make it beautiful. I think very often we are trying to shift things into something more beautiful, something more acceptable, and there's these parts of us that they just don't fit that mold. And what I'm learning more and more, the more I sit with that there's so much there for us to discover. So I want to offer this practice to you today if you are feeling stuck or like there's something uncomfortable that you want to pay more attention to, but it feels scary or a little too unknown to step into. This is a really fun practice that helps me kind of break through that initial restriction and resistance. This is the piece I'm talking about. I still cannot believe the messages that this piece had for me. But before we get to that, I want to show you more of the actual process to get there. And you are welcome to join where you are. And I just wanted to show you some quick examples too of other pieces that I've done using this darker background. So essentially, this practice is all about using the color black. But I love painting on dark, on black, because it just makes all the colors pop. It almost feels like a glowing quality when you start placing the colors on top of it. This is Rest in Your Roots. This is just a beautiful visual. I work with the womb space a lot. You can think of just the fertile ground of the womb. You can think of almost going into the earth, the ground and the soil and the earth. As we become channels for the light, we're rooted in this subconscious, this universal life force energy. And this visual just really brings it home for me. It's like we have our roots here in the dark and then we're expanding out into the light. And my favorite part about working with black as a bottom layer is that initial moment of discovery. I'll see a form or the way the paint is drying, maybe a different shape or a figure appear in the darkness, and I just let that guide me through the whole process. So if you want to find some art supplies, we'll shift over and I'll show you kind of how I brought this piece to life, and you can try it at home too. If you're looking for a really good medium to cover your page in black, my three favorites would be black gesso. Who knew there was black gesso? And you can also do black acrylic paint. But my personal favorite would be using black ink because it's going to have the most powerful contrast, and I love how it's almost like watercolor. There's a fluid nature to it. There's a flow when you're using the black ink. So if you have black ink, that would be my preference. But you can also play with the black gesso or even the black acrylic paint. Okay, so to begin, I have this journal. It's a Smashbook journal. So I've crumbled all the pages. I just love that it is crumbled. You can take a normal piece of paper and crumble it. I love these. What is this, a composition notebook? I love the lines and how everything is just so imperfect to begin with that it really takes the pressure off of the piece and also adds like this amazing texture. So my favorite way to do this is actually using black ink, and you can get like a little dish. You could even use a Tupperware or a plate, anything that's kind of easy to clean off. Just putting some in here. I have already just put it right on the page too. That's kind of fun. And then grabbing a brush. You're calling to mind however you're feeling, whatever that dark, shadowy discomfort might be, and letting yourself sit with it. You know, I think one of the keys to my growth has been the times that I've really allowed myself to be uncomfortable and even like seeked out discomfort, putting myself in things that feel stretchy or, you know, not normal for me, like out of my normal routine, out of my normal way of thinking, just trying new things and seeing what I discover. I just think there's something so liberating about moving ink on a page. It's just a very different way of working for me than normal. You can also play with adding salt. I'm not going to do that for this one, but that would be really interesting in here too. That would kind of turn into kind of a celestial feel, which would be really cool actually. And just letting like this part of the process be therapeutic. And then you can step away and let it dry. You could try and use a blow dryer. That might kind of blow it, some of the wet parts in different directions, which that could be cool too. Whatever you are feeling called to do. So we'll let that dry for a minute. And while it dries, you can get, I like to use a white pen. This is Uniball's Signo. I love this one. I also have a white charcoal pencil. You could even take like something pointy and kind of draw into the ink while it dries. That could be fun. And you can also take a white pastel if you want to. I have my new pastels. Let's see if the white is actually in here. Always a surprise. It is. Okay, yeah, you could use this white pastel and then just begin to sit with it. Looking at the positive space and the negative space. Looking at the different shapes, the different textures. And just notice if anything kind of calls out to you or gets your attention. You can even use white acrylic paint, which I did not use, but you can use that to start to bring in a structure, start to bring in lines, and maybe there's even a color calling you. Maybe there's an image that wants to go on top of it. You know, I have these little shapes from a magazine. Those could be fun to kind of play with and start letting them land on the page. So just notice what's in your environment, what is coming up, and follow that. This is the moment that I love, that initial discovery when you're just sitting there with this energy in front of you and something calls you, something catches your attention. Follow that. This is when I noticed the figure was in mine. And so I started to kind of bring more detail and more depth into that. So like whatever form you're finding, just start to bring in more outlines or more shading to really define that figure and pull it out to make it more prevalent or more noticeable. So I created this piece about a month ago, but what's interesting is this little sticker came in the mail, let it be, and came with our French press, which was a revelation, but it really wants to be part of this, and it feels like a really beautiful way to complete this piece. It's important to actually finish the pieces we're working on, to bring in the energy of completion and all of that information, just to have that energetic container and let the piece be complete and full. Not finishing it feels kind of like leaky energy and kind of getting stuck in that darkness. So I encourage you to really find whatever way this needs to be completed and complete this piece so that you can sit with all of the gifts of completion. Can we give the same love that we give to our kids and our creative projects and our family and friends? Can we give that same level of love that we give everyone around us every day back to ourselves? That is kind of the lesson, I think, is being able to go into the unknown and still have compassion, still have understanding and love for ourselves. All right, that feels complete.